at 2418 East Rahn Road in Dayton, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues. Root intrusion is a common one. And basically anything that would be concerned to the buyer. Our access point here, as you can see, there's the front door and the driveway. Access point is a clean out right here to the right of the front door. Normally these are sweeps, so it'll force me to only be able to go out towards the street. And you can see as you look down, as we're vertical, it's only allowing me to go one direction, which would be out towards the street. And so we won't be able to inspect the line under the floor in the house, which is cast iron, but we will be able to inspect the external line. Most of the time the issues are on the exterior. It's usually clay in these for the age of this house. It does look like I'm gonna have to run some water here so that I can rinse the camera off. And then once I get the water running, I'll pull back, rinse the camera off, and we'll be able to see right here. Right now I'm just barely at the base of the stack, the clean out, excuse me. So we're gonna pause the video and I'll go in and run some water. Alright, I've got the camera cleaned off. I'm gonna pull back a couple feet. So should be transition from the cast iron to the clay at the base of this clean out here. Make sure we pull back to that spot. And here we are here. There it is. It is vertical, so we're dropping in. And it goes directly into clay at the base of the clean out. We got a bunch of stuff on the camera here. There we go. All right. Yeah, there's a little bit of root intrusion there. Like I said, it's kind of something to be expected. It's a huge tree in the neighbor's yard, and we are within the in the drip edge of it, so it's the only tree close enough. It's a little bit more. It's very minor, but it is down towards the flow line, so it is something that will need to be maintained a little more. And this is very common in this age and material of pipe to have some root intrusion like this. Normally a good way to treat it as far as preventative maintenance, they make a chemical called Root X that you can put down about once a year. You can do it at night. Basically the last thing you do before you go to bed, so it sits in the pipe. The water carries it down as it foams up, and then that foam catches on the roots, and it should burn back the roots a little bit to keep them from causing problems. This spot here, it's not down in the flow line, but you're starting to get to the point where you may want to have a cleaning done before you get into the house, just to kind of start fresh. I mean, it's pretty, I think that could be taken care of with a chemical. I don't think that was too many roots, but here we go. When you get out to something like this where you're getting a pretty good sized curtain, it's where you might want to get it cleaned. You can either get it done with an auger, and like a 4-inch double knife would be good to be able to scrape the walls and get all the roots out, or a jetter. high-powered jetter would also work to clear these roots. And after that, that's where the the root X could come in. You could put that down maybe once a year, and then after 3 to 5 years, somewhere in that window, you could have it inspected again to see how the roots are growing, or if they are at all, and then it'll give you a better idea of a maintenance schedule also. But normally, doing root X either in the spring or the fall is usually a good time. Usually the spring is when they're have the heaviest growth. The rest of the line looks great. See a very, very minimal amount of roots. So you can probably just take care of it with the chemical, with the exception of that one curtain. That is getting to the point where if it grows a whole lot more, it could start catching toilet paper and stuff. So, but once we get out away from the tree, it looks like all this is in great shape. And structurally, the line has been great the entire time. Just have a few spots with some old connections where the packing is broken down and allowed in a little bit of finger roots and stuff. So as long as you take care of that now before they grow out of hand, it won't cause any major issues. And here we are at the main. So yeah, the line looks really good structurally. We'll just make note of a couple spots of roots, and yeah, you can see all the connections are really nice. There's not even any offsets in connections. There were no bellies at all, even with the water running. There were no low spots. The water never covered the camera lens, which is only about a ½ inch up. So the line has got great pitch on it. It's flowing beautifully. Right at about 47 feet. So all the roots are, once you get past 47 feet out to the main, which is at like 111, really not many roots, and really she's just barely getting down into the flow line. Again, this is very common. 33 and 47 are the two spots that are the heaviest. Those, you could do a cleaning to try to remove that, but I mean, like, that's pretty minimal. You could take care of that with a chemical, and maybe even the ones at 47, or I mean not 47, at 33, excuse me. Decent amount here. There's about a 20-foot section, 25-foot section there. From 22 to 47, the heaviest being at 47. That will require some maintenance. And here we are back in the clean out. One more thing I do want to note, cast iron on the inside is, even though we're not able to inspect it from this access point, it is a lot more common for cast iron to have what they call soft clogs. It's more susceptible to, because of just the rust and it being rough, that it's more susceptible to having, like, toilet paper catch or wet wipes. So I always recommend that you don't use wet wipes at all, but it's even more important for cast iron pipes, just because of how rough they are. They do cause they cause a lot of backups because of that. They'll catch, they won't disintegrate like toilet paper does, and so stuff will just pile up behind them. If you're going to use them, throw them in a trash can. Don't throw them in the toilet. Even if they say flushable, they are not. But as far as the line, the exterior line, it looked great. Structurally, everything was in great shape. It's held shape. I didn't see any cracks or breaks or anything, not even any low spots. And so, just due to the age, it will require some maintenance. Like I said, a yearly or even a semi-annual chemical treatment should be enough to keep the roots down. And they won't kill the tree. It'll just kind of burn back the roots and keep them from causing any backups or obstruction to flow. So I am going to recommend, at the very least, a chemical treatment to try to keep the roots down, and possibly a cleaning just to get the spots at like 33 feet and 47, either a mechanical cleaning or a jetting to remove those roots, and then start fresh in a year with a chemical treatment. And as long as you keep that maintenance up, the line should be in good shape for years to come. So that'll end the inspection at 2418 East Rahn Road in Dayton, Ohio.